This is a demonstration on how to start a Zoom meeting that you've scheduled. You're the host. That's what Zoom calls you when you're the one that runs the meeting. And the participants, who are your students, most likely, are called just that, participants. You're the host. So there's a couple things we can do. Remember, if we're on conferzoom.org, um, we can uh, we can log in and start a meeting there. But before I go there, let's say that I already knew that I scheduled a meeting, but I didn't log in to Confer Zoom. So I'm going to go over to my email, and this is the meeting that I, as the host, scheduled. So I'm going to do the routine I told you about, where I select the link and I Control C to copy it. I'll put it in another tab here, get rid of that, and I'll paste it in there, and I'll hit enter. Now watch what happens. You say open Zoom meetings, and this is a kind of a mistake. It says enter meeting password. I thought, well, why do I have to enter the meeting password? I'm the host, aren't I? Well, actually, now you're not the host because the computer doesn't realize who you are. You haven't logged into conferzoom.org. So unless it has a memory of your last login, which sometimes it will remember who you are, but I had actually logged out of ConferZoom before. So right now it doesn't know who I am. It doesn't know that I'm the host. So I don't want to get this meeting password thing, and I shouldn't get that if I'm the host. So I'm going to say, oops, I forgot to do something. I'm going to close this out. And now I'm going to go to conferzoom.org and I'm going to log in. I'm going to sign in this time. So it remembers my email address. And again, this password isn't your Palomar network password. It's whatever password you chose when you signed up to be in conferzoom.org. And you need to remember that, okay? Otherwise, you'll have to get help from them to get your password, but or go through a forgot password routine. But try to remember your password. So I'm going to sign in. Okay, so I get there. So this test meeting is there, and that's the one I want to start. The easiest thing to do is just to hit the start button. Okay, so I'll do that. I'll just click that little start button. And even though that meeting's not scheduled for later, I click the open Zoom meetings. It should let me in as a host. I have to wait a second here. And it does. This time it recognized us as me rather as the host because I was logged in, so it knows who I am. It knows I'm Steve Perry, my meeting, blah blah blah. So I can unmute myself and I can put the video on so you see who I am and see, does that work? So yeah, there I am. Boy, I look pretty funny with these little earmuffs on, but I'll turn that off. And when I don't have that, often you'd see just a picture. Let me turn that back off again. So. Now, here's a key thing you need to look at when you're hosting is you have this manage participants area. So I'm going to open that up. And unfortunately, it opened that up outside of the view of the screen. So I'm going to resize the window so you can see it. It opened it up here on the right part of the window. And it just shows me being here. But when people have logged into your meeting, people you've invited, you'll see a list of your students down here. And if they're in the waiting room, which I told you you should set up, above my name, there'll be another little area list of names, and it'll say waiting room. And all you have to do is you'll put your pointer by the student, and there'll be a button that says Admit, ADMIT. You click on that, and then the person's moved from the waiting room down into the participants list. And then when you admit them, wait a good 5 seconds or so before you start talking to them personally, because it takes a little while for that full connection to be made. So we're actually in a Zoom room. So other than management participants and these start video and mute and unmute buttons, this chat window is very important. So if I open that, it kind of opens a free floating chat window, and I can write a message to everyone, hi, and it did to everyone. But that's what I can do as a host. Your students should be able to send a message to everyone, just like raising a hand in a class and asking you a question, or they could send a message privately to you as the instructor. They didn't want to interrupt your flow of thing, but they also didn't want to ask a question that the entire class could see. But you'll see it in your chat area. So it's important to keep this open somewhere and float it around out of view or out of view of the window here. And that way you can look from time to time and see if anybody's trying to get your attention, trying to ask a question without interrupting you directly during the flow. Now, one thing I want to show you just really quickly, I'm going to close all this out. I'm actually going to end the meeting. Notice these things disappear. I hate that. I wish they could appear all the time. But if I move my mouse out of it, they disappear. If you want to unmute yourself, you got to bring your mouse pointer in this region and it'll pop up again. So I'm going to just end this meeting. Okay. And so, because I'm the host, I get to end it for all. So I click that and everybody goes away. Everybody's meeting has ended. So now I'm going to just get out of that. Now, it remembers. I did not log out of Confer Zoom, so the computer's going to remember who I am because I did not proactively log out. So now I could take this link here that was in an email invite and I can hit Control C. I've selected the text, Control C to cut it or to copy it. Go create a new tab. Let's get rid of that. And I'm going to paste it in with a Control V. And I can go to the meeting this way. And it will remember me as the host because I didn't really log off of conferzoom.org. So most of the time I don't have to log in because I've logged in and it remembers who I was. So here I'm back in the meeting again and I can do that. Okay, so that's sort of the gist of how to start a Zoom meeting and get in and get it going with you as the host. All right, so this ends this presentation, and then I'm going to move into some short videos about Canvas.